Hello and welcome back to another World of Warships Legends video. Today we will be going over the Tier 8 German campaign battlecruiser, the Ägir. For our commander we are using Karl von Müller with the inspirations of Agir Scharnhorst and Francesco Mimbelli. If you do not have Agir Scharnhorst, I suggest running Norman Scott instead. We are using the skills Beyond Range, Igniter, Punch Through, Fixated and Fully Packed as our legendary skill. You can run Refill Station instead, however due to the utility of Fully Packed giving you an extra consumable, I choose not to. In terms of our statistics, we have 62,850 health and 37% torpedo damage reduction. Our guns reach out to 17.8 kilometers and have a 17.2 second reload with a 35.3 second 180 degree turn time. We have a 30% chance of setting a fire, and our AP shells do 10,010 damage with a citadel hit. In terms of our very impressive secondary armament, it reaches out to 6.3 kilometers and has a 3.6 second reload, and have an 8% chance of setting a fire. Please bear in mind you should not build the ship for secondaries. In my mind, it's very much not worth it. You should build for guns, reload or accuracy instead. You have one quadruple torpedo launcher on each side of the ship. It reloads in 90 seconds and does 13,700 damage without torpedo damage reduction taken into account. They are detected from 1.3 kilometers, have a range of 6 kilometers and a speed of 65 knots. Overall, your very standard German torpedoes. On paper, your AA defense is quite good, particularly your 5 kilometer AA, which has a TPS of 220. In terms of maneuverability, we have a maximum speed of 34.8 knots, an 880 meter turning circle and a 14 second rudder shift. Our detectability is 11.9 kilometers, although you can get this down with Mikawa. Our detectability when we are on fire is 13.9, 7.5 kilometers from air, and as always a 2 kilometer guaranteed detectability range. This ship does come with the expected standard damage control and heal, however also comes with a very nice 5.7 km sonar and an enhanced secondary targeting consumable. Unfortunately, despite being only slightly smaller than a battleship, the Ägir does come equipped with a 27mm bow. This does mean you can be overmatched by 16-inch guns and larger, which will be very common at this tier. In terms of not getting your teeth kicked in, you should obviously angle, as your casemate belt is actually 90mm and so will bounce everything you can come up against. Despite this ship also having a turtleback, from my experience it seems to rarely ever work and cannot be trusted. Aside from this, the armour is not that much different from any other supercruiser. Your citadel is above the water and you can be citadeled fairly easily, and your superstructure is very large and so you will be chunked even while sitting bow in. For my upgrades, I am running Aiming Systems mod, Propulsion mod, Concealment mod and Main Battery Reload mod. You can also run Steering Gears mod, as I have also had some success with this build. Now for our actual gameplay. We are on the map Two Brothers on the right side. Each team has one destroyer and one aircraft carrier. We have spawned with an allied Buffalo, who is, I believe, briefly going to start shooting over us randomly, and an allied battleship. However, our allied battleship is going to leave this flank, I believe, almost immediately, or he will die very quickly. There are the shots from our allied Buffalo. They are always a mark of a good player. I say that sarcastically, however, me and him are essentially going to be holding off this flank for the entire game, as our allied carrier isn't really going to help much. I believe he also gets top of team with a Withera medal, so good on him. We've got our allied carriers planes going overhead here. I'm actually going to do some spotting for once. First enemy ship got spotted. There's an Agir over here, followed by another battleship, which I believe might be a De Grosser. And we're going to turn out already before firing. And we have taken out a shot here. Unfortunately, he has noticed and he has turned in and slowed down himself. So these are going to land a bit too far back and not quite bright enough. Again, no damage for our first salvo. He takes a shot at us just as we go undetected, and so does the enemy Ibuki, and unfortunately the Ibuki sets a fire on us. And as there is a carrier in this game, we get redetected almost immediately. And then we get Grosser over there. We're going to take a auto-aim blind shot almost at the Zabuki. We're getting some pretty good dispersion there. Fortunately, he does start backing away, and we still get 10k and take out 2 of his front turrets as well with a nice stroke of luck. Shots from DeGrosser, but they miss. And I can see that battleship that spawned above us is already on his way to go down the middle. And whilst I'm not actually opposed to going down the middle on this map, even though it rarely works, this guy's a bumbling fool, and so is his destroyer. I'm requesting assistance here from the allied carrier, as he sent his planes all the way to the bottom left corner of the map over there. Not quite sure why, but this may prove to, let's say, put this side of the map not in our favour. Getting a whole lot of inaction here. I decided to use my heal whilst we're not under fire. I would be more aggressive here, however I am cautious, especially now that the enemy Flanders turned up, and we're now fighting a 4v2 essentially, as the carrier is still refusing to help despite me requesting assistance and him saying affirmative. He is still not sending his planes over to this side. We got about 7k now on a Flander, I believe. And we get spotted by the planes yet again. Unfortunately, we do block the allied Buffalo from reversing here, so I accelerate so he doesn't get dev struck or something. We decide risking the turnout, hopefully, before the Amagi can shoot us. I take the shot there, however, unfortunately, only my rear gun will clear. Our destroyer, you can see over there, he's just wandered outside the other part of the channel there, and he's just walked directly into the entire enemy team, and he's about to die, I think, any second now. There he goes. Give him a nice thumbs up there for being a good gamer. Enemy Amagi's back. The Flander and the Friedrich der Grosse there are still sitting behind that island, but I'm not really willing to take any chances on this side, so I decided to fall back slightly just the island over there to my left. I believe I'll make a turn here fairly soon. Der Grosse takes a shot, so does the Amagi. The Amagi does land a single hit on our rear, which does disable our rear turret. This is a common theme with the Ägir. You have very paper turrets, and this is to be expected. The Amagi's salvo also did do some sort of damage despite us trying to angle. We're not going to fire here so we can get our turn off. I believe we're about to fire, maybe now, yeah. No? Okay. And I'm following the footsteps of our proud destroyer, who's also gone down the middle. Our battleship is doing the exact same thing. There he goes, rest in piss. So we are now 2 ships down. We've lost our only destroyer and our Zeton purely to suicide at this point. We take a shot here at the DeGrosser. Unfortunately, he backs up a bit too quickly and I don't apply enough lead, and those shells are going to go too far right. However, we do get a pen for 3k, so that's something. I see a cheeky shot from the enemy Flander there, who's obviously come out from the island at some point. And there he is. Our German crew, thankfully reminding us there that the enemy team has taken the lead. We take some fairly nasty hits there from the enemy battleships. Again, the Agir's armour not really doing it many favours. We unload the front guns at the Flander. and try to position the island in between us and the Grocer. However, the Ibuki does start shooting us, or at least I think it now would be the Ibuki. So I decide to go forwards and try to put the tip of that rock in between us. I take a shot at the Grocer, however it hits the island, and he also takes out one of our front turrets. I decide to risk a repair as I don't see it likely that anyone's going to set me on fire. Take a cheeky shot at the enemy flander. Surprisingly got 3 ricochets. No, he hasn't even accelerated or gone backwards. Well, it's just 3 ricochets because lol, I guess. See, sometimes when you play the Agir, your guns will do ridiculous amounts of damage, which you will see in our second game. Or they don't really do anything at all, and you just kind of left standing there like, is that it? And I believe this might be another one of those Sabos. Bear in mind, this guy's sitting flat broadside to us, and our guns aren't exactly small. There you go, we've got 3 pens for only 5k. That buffalo I was talking about has got himself in a fairly good position now. And he's going to start burning this flander down. Now, interestingly, our carrier has gone to the left side of the map, but is now sending his planes right over towards the flander. Why he's doing this, and why he has an addiction to sending his planes as far away from the carrier as physically possible, I have absolutely no clue. But this isn't going to be the last major mistake he'll make in this battle, and you'll probably be about as shocked as I will when you see it. Speaking of mistakes by the enemy carrier here, there is an enemy destroyer, or the only enemy destroyer has actually been spotted on the left side. It's just gone undetected now, which means that our Shokaku is, yeah, it's a Shokaku, has the perfect opportunity to just take out the enemy destroyer here, which would be a big help, especially to our battleship on that side, who's currently all alone without any support really. And he's gone down. So now it's just me, the Buffalo, and Mr. Doofus over there in his carrier. Speaking of carriers, Saipan coming in here. It's going to torpedo bomb the Buffalo, I think. And speaking of the Buffalo has killed the Flander. Which means, at this point I've realised that this game is essentially 98% chance going to be a loss. So I just decide I'm going to try and push. I might be able to kill the carrier, I might be able to get with the Grocer or the Ibuki, or even the Petro if he decides to come around this way. We've only got 5 minutes left on the clock for this battle here. Now you may have noticed at this point what our carrier's done. He's smushed himself up against the island here, instead of, oh I don't know, let's say turning around and heading in the other direction to avoid being absolutely eviscerated by the horde of enemy ships that are absolutely going to tear his ass apart if he didn't run away, and of course he hasn't. So that carrier, I've already written that carrier off as dead. That Somers is firing torpedoes at him. He's not long for this world, let's be honest. I think at this point I'm already on the nice work button. Carrier's finally gone down. No nice work from me, I should have done that in hindsight. But the carrier, the enemy Saipan, has turned up here. We don't want to waste time killing pigs, so we immediately take a shot for our front gun to either get 4 overpens in a classic Agir fashion, I have to say. We turn around just a little bit to fire our rear turret at him. That Sarah's looking very level there. And 3 citadels. In classic Agir fashion, these guns are very inconsistent, and this has to be my biggest problem with this ship. I really do like this ship. Unfortunately, Vita Grossa turns up and he gets a big smack into us there before I can angle in time. That was a mistake on my part. We get another salvo off on the Saipan and take him out. He drops. That was an incredibly sloppy drop from him. So now we are just there fighting a Degrosa. Now, I don't think this fight is unwinnable, and I think I might have been able to win it. We angle in here. He fires foolishly at our belt and he only does about 3k damage. The enemy Ibuki firing a shot there, not accounting for the fact that I've purposefully beached myself so I don't push too far forwards. I try to aim for his turrets, however in classic Ägir fashion, my shells just go absolutely anywhere but his turrets. I'm going to take the risk of turning here so I can get my torpedoes off. As I've already mentioned, I've realised this game is lost. He fires again, does about 7k to us. I fire at his turrets again, but again, nothing. Ignite 2 torpedo hits there. Yep, only 9k each way because these are German torpedoes and they don't do very much damage. Yeah, considering taking a shot at the Ibuki there, but we decided to take it on the Degrosa instead, get a decent 7k into the superstructure and secure the high caliber in the process. We're down to 369 health here. One salvo from Ibuki is going to be enough to finish us, and then that's the game. Overall, I feel that last game wasn't particularly terrible. It was pretty good damage-wise. You may have noticed here we're in a 5v5 game. Some very naughty person has turned off crossplay here. Although this relatively small match is actually going to work in our favour. But from the beginning my hopes are already not very high, seeing as the enemy actually has a division and I believe we actually don't. This is again a carrier game with 1 destroyer per team. The enemy carrier is a cargo, however even without telling you this and without you noticing, you'll probably notice that it was a cargo as the games go on. Enemy Agir has turned up there. It's followed swiftly by the enemy Richelieu. I decided to hold off on a shot on the Richelieu because I know the Agir is going to turn up because this is a carry game and stealth goes out the window. We take a good shot there. I believe he slows down, which helps us considerably, which leads to us getting about 13k salvo there. Pretty good. Fire our front guns again. Enemy Agir shooting us here, however he has just fired high explosive at us. Not entirely sure why. We get 1 overpen on that Agir. Like I said, guns inconsistent. We were considering taking a shot on the enemy Agir, however he has unfortunately just gone behind the arms. The enemy destroyer has turned up in A, and he's not really going to leave there for the rest of the entire game until he dies. Get a decent salvo on the enemy Agir there. I think that was about 10k-ish for 3 pens. Agir back again. Still hasn't learned his lesson about sailing flat broadside. Put another shot into him just for good measure. See if he learns this time around. Again, pretty good horizontal dispersion. Pretty good vertical dispersion, sorry. Horizontal dispersion wasn't great. About 10k there. We accelerate in order to try and dupe the shells using our prop mod. And we do, and we don't take any damage from the Agir. Agir also tries another shot at us. Still got a high explosive loaded, not really sure why. Don't question the mind of the average player, it is an enigma. Enemy carrier coming in here, however he can't attack me anyway, so he's deciding to drop the Brandenburg. I don't know why I was going to say counters, it's very clearly not counters. So we prepare ourselves here, just going to turn, get our rear gun around so we can maybe slap the Agir again. Unload for salvo, or unload for guns. Very, very nice dispersion there. The dispersion on the ship that is rather good, and it pays off there. It's a very lovely 16k chunk. Now, Brandenburg may have done a bit more damage there, however, in classic Brandenburg player fashion, he is firing high explosive. Load armor piercing, folks. And we do have an allied Plymouth in this game. He is going to be probably our second best teammate, however, he does make one big error. You'll probably see that when it comes up. We take a shot here at the Agir. Pretty decent 8k just at the front guns. Unfortunately, he does actually shoot us, and he actually overmatches our stern. So despite a very strange angle, he does still manage to pen us. Anyways, our allied Akizuki has actually just perished, killed by the Richelieu, who has at least 5 torpedoes out. The enemy Agir is finally finished off by our friendly Plymouth. We load high explosive here just in case the Richelieu is going to stay bow in, but we quickly switch back because the Agir is making a very, very dumb decision. Why would you push this, is my main question. He's giving broadside to another Agir in the Brandenburg, and he's also getting farmed by a Plymouth at the exact same time. Unfortunately, no citadels there. We do still hit him for 14k though, and so in about 20 seconds he's just lost his entire health pool for absolutely no reason. Enemy cargo coming here to drop us. It's 16k, no fire luckily. We pop our sonar just to keep the enemy destroyer spotted. I forgot what it was. I think it might be a Tashkent actually. We've got our high explosive now loaded for both either the destroyer or the Richelieu here. I believe, an auto-aim shot, expecting him to just in case he reverses. However, bizarrely for a Richelieu, he actually doesn't reverse there. And he fires HE back. Again, not sure why. I think he might have had it loaded for the Akizuki, even though the Akizuki is dead. Here's a Tashkent. That Tashkent's going to be spending a while fooling around in A, whilst our carrier does diddly squat about it for the next couple of minutes. Our friendly Plymouth requesting help there. He's pushing in to C to cap the base, which is good. I take a shot on a Richelieu, hoping for a fire, but unfortunately we're not given one. We are given 2 shatters because Agir. Our enemy cargo is coming in here. He's coming in from an angle where we can turn. However, I do choose to slow down, which I do regret in hindsight. And we take 2 torpedoes here. 1 to our steering and 1 to our bow. So now without, we've got clear skies there by the way, clearly a cargo. We got our steering gears knocked out there, which I decided to repair. And now I'm going to make an incredibly risky and potentially disastrous decision here, which is to turn back left. Forgetting that this is in fact not a cruiser, and this turning circle is in fact very bad for a cruiser. Even if it isn't a cruiser, but according to Wargaming it is. And we smash into the island. And the Richelieu's right there, and he's pushing, so we're going to be spotted. So I take the shot, and try desperately to angle in as much as physically possible. You can already see him eyeing us up there. We get a fire on him, very nice indeed. But we tried to prop mod here, and half of his shells hit the island, and the other ones miss entirely. Sucks to be a French ship, huh? Get dropped by the carrier again, takes out a top launcher with a single bomb hit, and now we set the Richelieu on a permanent fire. Very nice indeed. Now here, I believe, comes our allied Plymouth. Now, I have called this guy a good player so far, and I believe he is, but yeah. So, we no longer have a ship advantage, however, this Richelieu is now on a double permanent fire, courtesy of myself. And we're going to put one nice salvo of AP into his broadside to finish him off. Not quite there, however, the fires, yeah, the fires get him. Now, the enemy Tashkent over there is going to start blindly chasing our cargo. I'm not sure why. Speaking of cargo, enemy cargo. Dropping again, he sets us on fire for 5k. I decide to put that out and pop our last heal in the process. I turn left here to try and capture B. Get a bit of XP and a bit of credits for that. And the cargo's come back around. Oh, actually he hasn't, sorry, I've actually just shot down all his planes. We're close to a second clear sky here, if that was actually possible. I fire my guns here in order to test whether or not I'm actually going to be spotted. And I'm not, which means the carrier has reversed all the way to the back of the map. I believe at this point our allied carrier finally finishes off the Tashkent, which took him long enough. Or not. And we're spotted by a plane. I'm trying to figure out where the enemy plane's coming from, which, from the looks of it, is just from the back of the map, so... We're going to be on a bit of a wild goose chase here if he's running away. Or if he's just done typical carrier things and reversed. The enemy Tashkent has finally perished, which means that the enemy carrier is the only one left. I fire my guns here, but I'm actually spotted, which means that the carrier, presumably, is at the map border right now. Right over there, you can see I'm already looking at it over there in those few squares. So I'm just going to make a beeline towards him, trying to get this game over with as quickly as possible. Now I'm very eager to shoot this cargo because both A, it's a carrier, and B, it's squishy, and C, I'm an Ägir. And Agir has some pretty punchy guns, and I can overmatch the cargo, of course, as it's only tier 7. He's going to drop me here, however his drop is utter plop, and I dodge all of it, despite being in a very oversized ship. At 39 planes shot down now. Can we get the 40th one? There's the enemy carrier, and there's the 40th plane. Double clear skies, I wish. Now this cargo here is somewhat crabbing on the map border. That's where they are moving. Kind of like they're shuffling from side to side as a crab would. I really shouldn't need to explain that. We get a very lovely 15k on him there. And thanks to our fairly quick reload for the size of our guns, we're going to be able to start farming him. He's going in with torpedo planes now. 17k there on 7 pens and 1 ricochet. We take a torp here, but we take it on a belt. Doesn't cause any flooding or any other harm. Unload the guns yet again. Accuracy a bit more iffy this time, still managed to do about 6k. Our carrier dropping him there, and now a battleship behind us trying to get the yoink, I presume. He fails as he misses completely. Which means with a final broadside salvo, we are going to finish off the enemy cargo. And that's game. A very nice battle there, 155,000 damage. Not exceptional, but still pretty good, particularly when considering that there were only 5 ships in this game to begin with. So my closing thoughts on Ägir here. Some people seem to like it, some people seem to absolutely hate it. Personally, I very much like it. I think she's very competitive and well worth the money. If you are at the stage 100 of the campaign and you have not bought it yet, I would consider buying it, so you can pick the Agir up. If you're a fan of brawling ships or close range ships, then Agir is most definitely for you, but she can also fulfill that longer to medium range gap as well. Thank you for watching, like and subscribe if you did enjoy, and I'll see you in the next video. Toodaloo, au revoir, bye bye.